Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest and greatest episode of the Lowbot Podcast. I'm Tyler.
I'm Josh.
And we're back.
We're back.
Season two,
Have you
episode
found
two.
a name for this place
I
yet?
have.
What was it?
We are recording live from the Thunderdome.
Oh, the Thunderdome. All right.
Right,
I
sounds
like
good.
it. It's a lot different from the Crackden.
It's a lot different from the Crackden, but I feel like I could never live up to the Crackden.
No, that was
the Trap House.
That was magic.
That name was too
maybe we go
perfect.
back one day. Just as a surprise, I'll bring all the
To the
equipment.
people that live there?
Yeah.
And record.
Just like, can
Hello.
I use this room
Not
for a second?
We'll role play it. I live there. Oh yes, someone at the door.
Hello. I use
How can I help you?
room. I use room. I don't know why I'm putting on an accent.
Door shut. You put on an accent because you're nervous. My lord, no.
I've never had to do that before. I know they've
Put
still
on an
got,
accent?
No, not put on an accent, but knock at a random person's place. The last time I did that was when it was when I ordered the Nintendo 3DS because I wanted to play Fire Emblem, and I told you about it. The delivery driver didn't actually deliver it to my place.
Yeah.
He delivered it to next doors, luckily I checked there. But I hated doing that. I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah.
I hate knocking at random people's places. But
Anyway,
it's another week,
It
baby. It's
has
been so long
been
since I've said that.
another
It's
week.
good. I've been looking forward to this week.
absolutely.
How have you been?
Things.
Have you been?
Been good. Been working, training for work. Just
Yeah.
busy week. How about you?
Yeah. It's been a crazy week. I feel like every single day of this week we've had tech issues.
Oof.
Like even I had to stay back a little bit late yesterday from work because we just had so many tech issues. I had some customer with the nerve, and this is probably like one of my biggest pet peeves.
With the nerve.
Do not come into any place of establishment at 5:00.
Oh yeah,
Don't
absolutely.
do that.
No,
I hate
yeah,
that.
Absolutely.
Right. And
Even
he had the
5
nerve.
to 5, you're pushing it.
Yeah, he came in at like 2 to 5.
No.
And but I had to do it.
Yeah.
I had to do it. And that was real frustrating for me. Then I had a bunch of other shit to do, and like everyone else left.
Yeah, they're gone. They don't need to stay back.
Like all the colleagues left at like 3 yesterday to get ahead on the weekend. I'm like, I'm stuck here serving a customer at 5:00.
Great.
This sucks. And I shouldn't even be serving customers. I don't know why I'm doing it. But no one, everyone else left, so I didn't have a choice. But no, just work, buddy. There hasn't been too much basketball.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it was All-Star Weekend, which I guess is where we'll tip things off.
Absolutely. I came around on Monday. It was? Yeah,
Yes.
Monday. 'Cause it was
Yeah, public holiday here,
public holiday. Watched a bit of basketball. They put All-Star Weekend on one day now, which is much better.
I was going to go through All-Star Weekend and ask for your opinions on what you loved about it, what you didn't like about it. And, there's always going to be things people love and hate. Mm-hmm. I think probably the only thing I liked about All-Star Weekend, not to be a pessimist, and I genuinely do love it, is the one-day format.
Yeah.
It just feels so much smoother, less disconjointed.
Yeah.
And All-Star Weekend historically has never been, the biggest of events throughout the year. It's always the playoffs is the big year for basketball fans like us. But All-Star Weekend just feels more of like a treat, like a viewing pleasure now. It's one day we can
smash
down,
it out in a couple
watch
hours
it from start to finish.
If you don't watch for a little bit, that's fine. In 20 minutes, there's still something going. Where All-Star Weekend, it's like, okay, what time is this on? What time is this on? What day is this on? If you don't live in the US,
Yep.
It feels like All-Star Weekend isn't for us diehard fans. It's for the more casual audience.
Yeah. Like I think I mentioned it to you when we were watching it, and one of the cool things about All-Star Weekend was seeing all these players together in the one place. It would be insane if you were actually a fan there watching it live. I can see how that being a completely different
Pay
appeal.
$250, get a ticket. You see the dunk contest, the skills contest, the All-Star game. You see all the stars, so on and so on. So.
Yeah, it'd be absolutely crazy. Like, especially with the fact that this is the very first time Steph Curry has ever been on the same team as LeBron. Mm-hmm. That's a huge thing in itself.
Mm-hmm. People would pay big money for that.
Yeah, is there anything that stood out to you over the All-Star Weekend which you actually liked? There's not, is there? No. I can tell by your face. No. So the one-day format, I really, really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, I appreciate the one-day format. I hope they stick with it. I don't think they will because it's less money for like the venues and
overall. Yeah. The other thing I really wish they would implement, and I think I did mention this on the Monday when it was happening, was miking up these All-Stars. This is the only time of the year when these All-Stars are all in the one place, literally on the same court together. I'm not saying mic up all of them, but you see some of the, I guess, the behind-the-scenes stuff between Steph and LeBron, because it's the first time they've been together. And it's crazy. Like, not even the on-the-court stuff. It's just them interacting with each other.
Yeah.
And these...
Because we don't get to see that as fans.
Exactly. You know, usually if you're a Warriors fan, it's Steph and Jordan, Paul, and all these other guys, which you don't care too much for, you know. But Steph, obviously, people love. Same thing if you're a Lakers fan. It's just LeBron and interacting with the other guys like THT and Caruso and whatnot. But seeing LeBron interact with Steph and Kawhi Leonard interact with all these other guys, it's a whole... That, to me, is All-Star Weekend, is the interactions, because... The All-Star game is never going to be exciting. No. I don't think... I was thinking about it...
Last year's was all right.
It was okay. That's probably the most... Closest to exciting it's been in a very long time.
Yes, absolutely.
But I was thinking about this for a couple of days, and I was going to ask you, but I don't have an answer myself. If you could change anything about the All-Star game specifically to make it more, I guess, competitive, because competitive does make for more entertaining viewing pleasure as a basketball fan... What would you change or implement? Because I don't think there's anything I can think of. Because I feel what the league's done with reinventing the All-Star game, with everyone plays a quarter, then reset the points, and then play that quarter. Now at the end, it's the first to 170. That works to a degree. Like you said, last year's was actually pretty entertaining, but it still wasn't competitive.
Yeah.
There's just absolutely no defense and whatnot. We saw that was particularly evident
really
this year.
This year.
I don't know what I could implement, because I just don't think it's the format is built for that.
Players, like, they like, obviously every player in the NBA loves basketball.
Yes.
But if there's nothing to play for, they play 82, 72 games during the regular season. And if there's nothing really on the line here that's going to help them towards a chip, they're not going to care too much. So I don't think you're ever going to get something that's competitive. If it was me, I'd say maybe run test rules.
Okay.
Oh, we're thinking about a 4-point line?
Yeah.
Kick a 4-point line, kick it back 3 feet.
That is the best idea I've had, actually. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the pod, because I fucking love that idea.
Well, thank you.
That's
I'm the guest for this week. I'll
the
be
door
leaving.
is there.
Nori will
No, that
in.
is a fantastic idea, actually.
If you want to run like a test, why not use the All-Star game for it? And you could say, every 3 years, new gimmick. We've got a 4-point line. Let's see how Steph and Dame and everyone reacts. Who knows?
Because they're jacking up from halfway
anyway.
anyway.
Yeah, like they're jacking up from halfway anyway. Why not put in a 4-point line and see how the players react? They still may not care. They may not do too much, but they'll mess around with it.
It'll be fun to see how many people can actually shoot from out there, because then there's a target for people to hit from out there.
Exactly. Or, I can't think of any other potential rule changes that have a big impact like that. But
that's probably the most obvious for the moment, and that's one that I know is in discussion. Just throwing it out there, would you eventually like to see... I assume you're in favour of pushing back the 3-point line a little bit.
I don't mind.
You don't mind? Just neutral?
I put no thought into it. It doesn't...
Yeah. I would like it pushed back a little bit. How would you feel about 4-point line? Or strictly as a gimmick thing?
For the All-Star game or for
regular season? Because a lot of people talk about this.
You need a lot of testing. You need All-Star game, you need G League, you need 2 seasons in the G League.
I like how the G League has kind of been
the
guinea pig for a lot of this stuff. Because I think they had, if I remember correctly, if you get an offensive board, you've only got 12 seconds instead of the full 24 now. Or is it 14 seconds? I'm completely blanking right now.
You're completely what?
I'm blanking right now completely. It's so early.
Yeah, it is.
But I think they adopted that first. They were running tests in that first. So it'd be cool to see them implement that. Or I think I agree with you more. I would like to see the All-Star game grab that, because that's more of a draw factor for that. People will tune into the G League to see how that goes. But if the All-Star format's the only one doing that, that's going to be real interesting with the talent they've got.
It definitely needs more than just another game.
Yeah.
Screw it. Have a wheel. Every 5 minutes you spin the wheel, a new rule comes in. Must score within the key. Must be mid-range shots. Every 5 minutes you spin that wheel and a new rule implements. Just anything to make me want to watch it. Because right now it's just a game of basketball, and I can watch, what's 72 times 30?
140, 216, I think.
More than 116.
Okay.
72 times 30.
Oh, no,
Like,
sorry.
how many games go on in a
I don't know.
season? You know what I mean?
When-
Like, I'm not actually asking you to do the math, but how many games go on in a season? I can watch a game anytime.
Yeah,
I don't need to
yeah,
watch
yeah.
the All-Star game. There's like
Wow, mate.
7, 8 games on a day.
My math is so off.
It is.
I thought you said 72 times 3.
No.
I didn't hear the 30.
70, that's like 200.
That'd be like, yeah, that's
That's like 200.
Yeah.
But 72 times 30, that's thousands of games,
Yep.
right? I can watch thousands of games a year. Why would I watch the All-Star game?
That's the thing, because we've got games on today, which we will go through because I'm actually excited. Because yesterday was only like a couple games.
Yeah.
Oh, no, a few games, but nothing really exciting. Today there's a bunch of games going on, and you're here, I'm here, I'm excited to watch them. But I would much rather watch those games than the All-Star game.
Because they mean something.
They do. They mean something, especially with how close everything is at the moment.
It's a bloodbath
Yeah.
trying to keep that 8th seed in both conferences.
Yeah.
So this actually means something. And I understand like the charity donations, they're trying to make it mean more,
Yeah.
but it still didn't.
Which is a good implementation. I'm a big fan of it.
Absolutely.
I'm glad they did that.
Give to the less fortunate.
The only thing I would say, because you said that there's no meaning for the All-Star weekend, really. There is one: tampering. There's a lot of that
is
goes on.
True. There's a lot of shit.
So that's probably the only real thing I look forward to, because like, what are some of the news articles which are going to come
Yeah.
out? Who's LeBron
What
been recruiting
sneaky
this
videos
time?
are we going to
right?
get this now?
That's what I'm excited for. That's why I would like that sneaky might pick up something.
That one video of KD and Kyrie talking in the
Yeah.
tunnel like 2 years ago.
And they said, no, that means nothing.
That means
I
nothing.
call bullshit on that.
Yeah,
There's
because
so
they
much
said,
meaning.
"Oh, you know, we're going to go to New York. They got two max spots." I mean, they did go to New York.
Like, what else would 2 max spots mean?
Yeah.
Like, what else would that mean, Kyrie?
Yeah.
Such a fool. But speaking of all of this,
Good segue.
KD, Kyrie, all of that
Okay.
drama, they just got Blake Griffin.
This is what I wanted to talk about.
Yes.
I've been a fan of Blake since his 2019 run. I think we were both a fan of Blake since his
Yeah,
2019.
that's the All NBA run.
Yeah, where he was like top 5. I'd say he was like second team. He got third team,
Yeah,
but
I
like
think second team.
he was pushing for MVP.
Overall, if you know, just to preface, Blake Griffin. I was never a big fan of Blake Griffin.
No, I was never a fan of Clippers Blake Griffin.
No, Clippers Blake Griffin felt very one-dimensional. He didn't have a post game, couldn't really play defense. He was just a lob threat, but very athletic and very quick at that.
At the end of his Clippers career, he started to get more skills. His athletics
Yeah,
declined.
like really towards the end of that tenure. So I was never really a fan of that. I like, you know, either be a great big man at what you do. I'm not a big fan of the people that are always lob threats, like DeAndre Jordan, I guess, in a weird way. They're very, very comparable. But as soon as he went to Detroit, that 2019 season run was really, really good. That boy was on the court in the playoffs with his knee wrapped in
a brace.
just looked like bubble wrap at that point. You know, and I commend him for all those efforts. I did a complete 180 on him. I like who he is as a player. And I think what his skill set that he can bring to Brooklyn is needed. You know, they need another guy that's not going to be just them three. You know, I know Joe Harris is shooting absolute lights out. I think he's shooting 57% from three.
Something like that.
Because they can't guard him anymore because they've got to guard the other three dudes.
Yeah.
You know, especially when KD comes back, that's a lethal offensive threat of those three. So all of a sudden, Joe Harris can do what he wants on the 3-point line. But the loss of Jarrett Allen means they are losing a big guy. Now, Blake Griffin doesn't fill that void. Blake Griffin's not a defensive player. He's very much an offensive player. He always has been. But the one thing I would like to see at some point is Blake Griffin in a smaller role. So Blake Griffin in a smaller role, he's never had that before.
Yeah.
He's always been in
A
LA,
focal point.
the focal point. In Detroit, he was the focal point. It didn't work out, unfortunately,
Yeah.
despite all his efforts. But now he is forced to play a smaller role. And that's the first time we've ever seen it from Blake.
Exactly.
And I was listening to someone a couple nights ago talk about Blake Griffin. I can't remember who it was. But generally, guys like Blake Griffin that seem to endorse younger guys and be more of a, I guess, opening and welcoming vet, but still very talented, they tend to age a lot better into smaller roles if they accept it.
Yeah.
And I think Blake Griffin is absolutely one of those guys.
Absolutely.
And I don't think you can be anyone in the league going to Brooklyn and think, I'm the focal point, unless you obviously like James Harden or KD.
Yeah.
You know, there are very
Unless
few
you're at that
can.
superstar level.
Exactly. And I think Blake Griffin and his skill set currently offensively should fit. He should be a good backup point. He should be someone which can get you 15 and like a Carmelo Anthony.
So yeah,
in a weird way.
I'm expecting like 10, 4 and 4.
Yep. If he can do 10, 4 and 4, that's fine.
Yeah. This is the first, like Blake reinvented himself at Detroit. That was Blake 2.0. Yep. Now we're going to Blake 3.0.
Yep.
He's clearly at the tail end of his career. It may not be done yet.
Yep.
He's obviously struggled these past 2 seasons, got awful numbers, awful efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely hard.
But
second to only Killian Hayes.
Second to Killian Hayes. But he's also playing 35 minutes in Detroit.
Which is surprising.
Right? Despite his injuries, despite playing 35 minutes like every fucking game since he got to Detroit. You know, and like his knee, like you mentioned in 2019, he played that last game 5 and 4 of the playoffs against the Bucks in like a big knee brace.
Yep.
And he was like a straight one-legged man. It was bad.
Oh, horrible. Yeah.
So I see so much slander when I was reading the news about Blake to Brooklyn. So much slander online saying he's washed. If he gets any minutes, he's going to be a detriment to Brooklyn.
Really?
Yeah. So people have so little faith for a player just because of bad seasons.
Yeah.
Right? He's not going to get 35 minutes. He's going to get 10 to 15 minutes.
If he gets more than 20, I'll be gobsmacked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he knows that as well.
Yeah.
The big thing about this Brooklyn team is versatility. Do you know who they've been running at center the most this season?
Who?
Bruce Brown.
Oh, yeah, he's like 6'5", runs to the rim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The point guard from Detroit.
Yeah.
Who they picked up. Who's been playing an amazing small ball center.
Yeah.
Right? The second most has been DJ. Third most has been Jeff Green.
Yeah.
Right? Blake Griffin will be a Jeff Green.
Absolutely.
Right? Obviously Blake's numbers have been bad, but off like 10 minutes, his numbers will shoot up. His efficiency will shoot up.
That's the thing, that there's a reason why you can't get scoring title if you haven't played X amount of games. And with every stat.
Yeah.
The more minutes you play, the more games you play, the harder it is to maintain that efficiency. And if he's playing 34, 35 minutes a game and he's not the Blake he used to be, those numbers are going to be down. They're going to be horrid. But you reduce that, keep him healthy, keep him focused on the role he plays and the minutes he has to play within.
Exactly.
That should be so good for Blake. And I don't see too much of a downside. The great thing about this Blake acquisition is it doesn't mean anything bad.
Exactly. They didn't give up anything to get him. It was just a sign. They just signed him.
If they need another proper big man to actually replace Jarrett Allen, they still can.
They still can.
Which is the thing.
People online are so quick to, when a player gets to the tail end of the career and has a bad spurt, they're so quick to just throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
Oh, Melo's done. No, this is just a new version.
Yep.
Oh, Chris Paul's injured. No, he's done. No, he's still going. Blake's done. No, this will be Blake 3.0.
Yep.
He'll adjust to his new role. I want you to imagine this, right?
Yep.
James Harden dribbling up the court, near top of the key, just to left a bit. Blake sets a screen. A lot of times teams will trap Harden, double team, get the ball at his hands. Blake rolls, lob over the top. KD's man comes to stop Blake, kicks it out to KD in the corner.
Yep.
That's all you need him to do.
Completely changes it.
Completely changes it. Because Blake's a great passer. He's always been a great passer.
Yep.
Even back to early days in LA. He's an amazing playmaker.
It really showed in Detroit.
Yeah.
Because usually he's the one getting the passes.
Yeah.
But now he's the one that's got to be the focal point of the offense. It's a lot different. Now we get to see him as a proper role man again and actually get a bit more space because you can't leave Joe Harris, Kyrie, KD, James Harden
all
open on the line.
Right.
It's like this situation would be perfect for a Giannis.
Absolutely.
This is perfect for Blake.
Let's add another MVP. But yeah, this is a situation where Blake doesn't need to do much. You've got some of the best shooters in the league on your perimeter.
Yep.
You're a good passer. You're not the attention.
Yep.
Just go.
Yeah, I don't know why people are so angry about this acquisition.
Yeah.
And they're angry in a way that this doesn't make sense. To me, it makes sense. It's such a low risk with a pretty high reward if it works out.
And I see him being a plus on offense.
Yep.
And in the 10 minutes, I can see him being a neutral on defense. Anything more, he'll probably go to a negative on defense, but just 10 minutes a game?
neutral at the moment because that's a lot better than what you're going to get from a lot of these other guys.
Yeah, it's a lot better than what
defensively.
you're getting from DJ right now.
Yes. So I don't know why there's negativity toward the acquisition. I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
They are the
Good
second
to
seed
hear.
in the East right now, and that's pre Blake Griffin.
Yeah, and
So,
that's with KD out.
yeah. Yeah. So
They've got the best offense in the league.
and this should like if this works out, you know, if you're a Brooklyn fan, fingers crossed this ends up being 15 points a game
Yeah.
from Blake Griffin. That means you hypothetically don't have to run all these guys as much as you're running them right now because there isn't any depth in that team.
Yeah.
And Blake Griffin hypothetically should add a really good piece of depth. Because I know you're not big on Montrez for the Lakers, but he does add depth.
Yeah, he
and
does.
people like to overlook that depth and how important that is throughout the regular season. And I know it's only 17.
Depth matters
you know,
so much in that regular season.
Yes, not so much the playoffs. You know,
Playoffs-
maybe Blake doesn't get played anywhere near as much. Maybe
Yeah,
7
maybe
minutes a
yeah,
game.
exactly,
You know?
exactly.
But throughout the regular season, because James Harden was ran through the ground in a regular season
Yeah.
for Houston.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I'm not a big James Harden fan, if at all, but he killed himself in the regular season. Always did.
Yeah.
Heart and soul on the court. And I
And
love
you could
that.
see he was exhausted come playoff
Yes, that's
time.
why his numbers were always like atrocious in the
Yeah.
playoffs when it mattered because he'd played 82 games throughout the season.
And like 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you know, with KD, you know, we're still a bit unsure on his body at the moment. He's been in and out this year. He just came back from a really bad injury. You don't want to run him 38 minutes a game.
Yeah.
You know, Kyrie's fine. He seems to be much better now. James Harden's always been James Harden. You know, he's never really going to miss games.
They're in a like KD is in a spot where he's so fortunate where he doesn't need to play 30 minutes a game.
Yep.
Like, can you imagine coming back from an Achilles and you have two All-Stars in your team, one's a former MVP, and you don't need to
nuts.
play 30 minutes to make it to the playoffs?
It's crazy.
Like, that's such a fortunate position to be in.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that Brooklyn went from the team, everyone's pick, you know, if it's not your pick, whoever says this isn't their pick for what I'm about to say is absolutely lying. They gave up everything they had for the future to get an aging Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Andre Karolinko, Jason Terry, I believe. Joe Johnson. You know, and you say these names and these are, you know, bona fide Hall of Famers for the most part. But they were old.
Mid-30s at
Old,
the time.
man. You know, they weren't going to contribute anything.
Yeah.
And they gave up so much for that. And somehow,
It's like if a
within
team
the
traded away the
decade-
future for current Dwayne Wade.
yeah, I can, yeah, that's
Right?
it basically. Because within the decade, they not only came back to mediocrity, you know, through D'Lo and Karis LeVert and Dinwiddie, that
They
era.
made the eight.
They made the 8th. Didn't stop there. They're at the 2nd seed right now. Very well could make the 1st.
I just want to give a big shout out to Sean Marks. That man knows what he's doing.
Yep.
And turned that franchise around. Because Brooklyn seemed like a joke.
Yeah.
6
Yep.
years ago.
Yep.
But they're not a joke.
This should not have happened within a decade.
Exactly.
We look at teams like Atlanta that have been struggling for so long after their, you know, success in the regular season and the playoffs, and Sacramento were successful at some point. It's been what, 20 years
Yeah.
since Sacramento have
Like
been relevant.
2001,
It's
so
been
20 years.
forever since Timberwolves have been relevant. It's been forever since New York have been relevant.
Yeah.
And New York, you know, is slowly getting there now, but it's nothing compared to Brooklyn and what they've done.
It's such a big turnaround.
Such a weird oddity.
Yeah.
That Brooklyn not only got things together as a 6th seed, as a 7th seed, they very well could top the East.
Yeah.
With one of the best seasons, one of the best seasons we're seeing in general from anyone in
Yeah.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
And Philly. And it might be eclipsed by what Brooklyn are doing with their absolute monstrosity of an offense.
Yeah.
And I say monstrosity and just, it's disgustingly good.
It's looking
phenomenal.
like the all-time great offense.
Yep. Because you can...
Not the best defense.
No.
But-
People argue the best team of all time is Golden State for that tenure with KD.
Yeah.
And that's because their defense was also top.
Yeah.
You know, that was best offense, best defense. This definitely isn't the best defense. Nowhere near.
Yeah.
But their offense is freaking wild.
So their offense is looking to be, assuming they keep this up and Katie comes back, it's looking to be the best offensive season of all time for a team, which is
Yep.
crazy.
Crazy.
But their defense, I think right now is 16th. And just at the start, towards the start of the season, it was like 25th.
Yep.
The only team to ever win a title was with less than like 15th in the defensive rating was the 2001 Lakers.
Yep.
So they could still do it. It's not impossible.
Yep.
But their defense definitely needs to get better. But they've got time.
I've realized that, like, historical stats don't mean a lot. Anything happens in this league. Like,
everything's with a grain of salt.
Yeah, like the best championship of all time, you know, whether you love it or hate it, 2016, LeBron James, Cleveland Cavaliers. No team's ever done what LeBron managed to do with that team, ever. All the historical stats were against him. So I'm thankful for that. And like, I'm not a big LeBron fan. I'm not a Cleveland fan at all. I'm a Lakers fan. But that I loved because I was never too invested in historical stats. You know, anything could be broken at any time. You know, the last 5 years, not even the last decade, the last 5 years, so many records have been broken.
Absolutely.
It feels like every second year, rookies come into the league and break previous rookie records.
Yeah.
You know, it's a combination of the pace of the game, the style of the game. So much is changing. You know, even the way that these guys come up, you know, throughout the league. You know, this is a bit of a hot debate. A lot of people love to talk about it, but the players where Wilt was, nothing compared to the players we have now. Even college players, you know, it's just so different now. And it's crazy to think that you know, we're seeing teams like this and it could keep happening. You know,
Bill Russell being the only athlete among milkmen.
Yeah, among milkmen. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That is an exaggeration if you're listening, Bill Russell. Sorry, Bill. But yeah, like, records are good with a grain of salt. You take them and you look at them and say, okay, it's good to see where things are at that point.
Yep.
And take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's something to...
It's good to mold something by
comparison.
an idea, by a comparison, get an idea of what's to come. But like it works in regards to, you know, if you're scouting, for example, you know, shooters that generally do this are going to do this. This is how we do that. We trap here, we fall back here.
Yeah.
Why not? Those stats work. But if it's pure just numbers that are trying to go against you, I never had any stock in that. It didn't make too much sense to me, and we're all here to be amazed.
Yeah.
You know, that's what LeBron does, and that's what this Brooklyn team could do with their offense. It's absolutely insane.
They're poised for a good playoff run. As things are currently, they're poised for a good playoff run.
Which they've turned me around a little bit. I know I had this discussion with Adam. I don't think I'll ever be a Kyrie fan, and I just don't see him being a winner. But everyone else on this team is too much of a winner not to.
Yeah.
Like,
I talked about this with you on Monday during the All-Star game. And I said, I don't think Kyrie raises any team's floor.
Yes.
But I think he's a great ceiling raiser. And if people don't know what I mean by that, is like, he's not going to make a bad team. If a team's like a 10th seed or a 11th seed, he goes to them, he's not going to make it better.
No, they're going to stay stagnant.
They're going to maybe go to the 9th, right? But if he goes to a 4 seed, he could raise them up to a 2 seed or a 1 seed.
In a great comparison, you want to compare him to LeBron, you know? Best floor raiser in history.
Yeah.
By far.
By far.
You put him on any team, they're making the playoffs. You put Kyrie on any team, they're not guaranteed to make the playoffs. That's the best way to put it. But Kyrie, like you said, does raise the ceiling. If Kyrie wasn't on this Brooklyn team, they wouldn't be as good as they are now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And I'm not a Kyrie fan, but that I got to admit that.
Yeah. I think that's the thing you've said the most on this podcast. I'm not a Kyrie fan.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
I feel like it's every week.
I've got a preface, you know.
You've got to get that sandwich. I'm not a Kyrie fan. He's good. I'm not a Kyrie fan.
I have to. I am my image, you know. I gotta keep that up, you know.
It's Italian hands when you talk to me, and I'm not a Kyrie fan.
But I appreciate it. I appreciate, you
absolutely.
know, every player that comes to the league. If they're putting in work, they're putting in work.
Yeah.
He's just a bit of a dingus sometimes.
Oh,
that I don't understand.
A bit.
What is with him and that walking stick? Why? Has he come out and said why? I don't get it yet.
He didn't show up to All-Star media requirements.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
No. Honestly, if anything weird is going down in the league, I assume Kyrie's behind it.
Walking sick. I'm sure it's a spiritual thing, and I hope he's content.
I mean, he's content.
But I'm just...
Kyrie came out, I think it was yesterday, basically outing the media, because on, I think it was the last game back or something, he went up and like hugged one of his former teammates and getting along with his former Boston teammates. And then he came out straight to the media, and it was just like, that's what you get for talking shit about me. I'm a great teammate or whatnot. It was just really weird. It's like Kyrie takes all of this personally.
Oh, he probably does. But that's KD as well.
But KD, I mean, he's been a lot more vocal the past few years.
Yeah.
Not in a, I don't think it's been a shitty way.
No, they just take a lot of that media stuff a lot more to heart than others.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's 3 polarizing guys on that team, man.
Yeah. And that's why people think it wasn't going to work. But
Yeah. It's weird because Blake is the most, not humble, but what's the word? I remember when the 2019 season when Detroit got eliminated, and then Blake Griffin had the conference with all the media members, and then after they finished, he went and shook everyone's hand. I can't remember the last time I saw a player do that. That was very unique to me.
Yeah.
Someone of his caliber having an all NBA season, doing that to each media member. Usually they just, like Kyrie didn't even show up to his last one.
It feels like he was very appreciative.
Yes.
Of
and
other people doing their job.
It's weird to have Blake as that anchor for that personality when you've got 3 of the most polarizing guys in the league. I don't, off the top of my head, I can't think of 3 more polarizing guys than James Strip Harden. James Strip Club Harden. Kyrie freaking Moses with his walking stick. I don't get it. And then, Kevin Durant with the burner account,
Yeah.
Not it's a bad thing, but
It's
just
3
wild
strong
to
personalities.
me with Blake. And that's also a thing which I'm excited to see.
Jeff Green.
Oh, yeah.
Papa Jeff. Yeah.
Papa Jeff, yeah. But speaking of old heads like Jeff and Blake, teams are starting to move off of certain guys. Did you see San Antonio?
Yeah. Word came out that Pop's like, yeah, we've talked to LaMarcus. We're going to hopefully find him a fit he's comfortable with.
So he's away from the team moving forward.
Yep.
He's not going to be there, which I expected. He's not been good this season with them at all. He's old. And it's just time to move on, unfortunately. I'm a big LaMarcus fan. Always will be.
Yeah, we both love him.
His best years were in Portland.
Yep.
That was I was sad to see him go then. I hope he goes back. I mean,
he very well could.
Honest to God, they do need someone.
They need a big man, yeah.
Right?
And he's good friends with Dame.
Yeah, very good friends.
They'd give up probably like Zach Collins.
Yeah. Zach Collins fits more of what Pop runs, I think.
Yeah.
Like, Zach Collins does 2 things, all right? And I think this is Pop's ideal cheap big man is rebound, shoot.
Yeah.
Rebound, shoot. That's it.
Yep.
Obviously you get Tim Duncan and you David Robinsons if you're Pop. You're very lucky.
If you're lucky.
But those are like, MVP talents.
Yeah.
He loves making the most out of these budget big men.
Yeah, he'll get the most out of a budget
And
guy.
Zach Collins could work.
Yeah.
I really think it could, assuming he's actually able to be on
Healthy,
the floor.
yeah.
But Portland don't have Zach Collins. They don't have Nurkic.
It'd be good for Portland to get another bigger power forward because it feels like Portland, especially now, run like 3 small guys and Nurk if he's back.
Yeah.
Or Cantor or someone. Because like a lot of the time they're running Roko at the 4 or Melo at the 4. And they're 3s.
Yeah, their 3s are hard, man.
Right? So getting them a legit 4, I feel like could help them, 5 to 10 minutes off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, would there be any other teams you'd want to see LaMarcus go to? Because he's still a good player. He'll get you 10 to 15 points.
I've
easily,
heard little bit of talks about him in Miami.
Yep.
But it's going to be to a team that's pushing to contend. It's going to be for a team that's looking to get a chip.
Yep.
A bad team isn't going to want to take that contract.
No, not at all.
Who knows? I honestly don't know. They're the only 2 I've heard whispers of.
He works. Like, compared to Blake Griffin, in my opinion, he's a much easier bucket. You put LaMarcus on the floor.
He doesn't have Blake's versatility in playmaking.
No.
But, yeah, he's likely to get you more points.
It feels like he's guaranteed to get you 10. Blake Griffin, on a good night, hopefully gets you 10.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So I never, whatever team gets him, assuming you're a contender, that's always going to be a really, really good one.
Absolutely.
There was another one. So Silas came out and said, just like LaMarcus Aldridge for Houston, PJ Tucker's no longer going to be with the team.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
That came out, I think, yesterday, which shocks me. I wasn't anticipating them to say he's no longer going to be with the team. I was expecting them to move off. I assume Houston's going to move off everyone. before the deadline.
No.
Everything I'm hearing is like this person's up, this person's up, this person's up. It's just like
they're moving
a free
to
market
Houston.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're like PJ, probably out of the people they're probably getting rid of, I feel like PJ Tucker has the highest like interest
Right now,
Yeah.
because any more,
They're not moving off Christian Wood. No. Right, that's their meal ticket. And I think they're going to keep John Wall as well.
Oh, Christian Wood's so good.
So
they can't win a game without him.
Yeah. So if you're getting rid of people, PJ Tucker's got the highest value.
Yes.
And for most teams in the league, you could slot PJ Tucker in, and
absolutely.
He's not a floor raiser. PJ Tucker is a ceiling raiser.
Yes. Yep.
Not as much as Kyrie, obviously.
No, obviously, just a lesser scale. Like you can fit him on any team. He'd help.
Any team.
You fit him on LA, Brooklyn, anywhere.
Any team makes them better.
Yep.
So there's going to be buyers for PJ. A big one is Brooklyn.
How much do you think he's worth? Like, I mean, not worth. How much do you think teams are willing to give up? Is a better question.
For a contending team that's going to win now, a first round.
Yep. You think? I think who was it? Jeremy Grant got offered. I think it was 2 first-round picks. Detroit. Jeremy Grant is pushing. He's playing like Zach LaVine was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That was a good player.
But Jeremy Grant feels like good stats on a bad team.
Well, I mean, it was good stats on your team last year.
In the
It's
playoffs.
gotten better.
Yeah, but I don't feel like this is a legit jump.
Okay.
I don't feel like this is a legitimate like
It
all-star
feels
level
like-
jump from.
I'm not disagreeing. It feels like what maybe anchoring that decision is Jamal Murray. Because I was thinking about Jamal Murray this week. Obviously, I'm comparing anything to his bubble stats is crazy. He's had a very slow, gradual process. And that's pretty much the case for everyone in the league. Even Luka, it's a gradual process. Trae Young, gradual process. It's weird to see a guy like Jeremy Grant jump from what he was a year ago to now, which is over 20 points per game. That's wild. Considering no one had that stock in Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I agree with you.
Good two-way player,
Yes.
but we didn't see this level offense before.
Yeah.
So it feels like 2 step forwards, he's going to take that step back.
Yep.
It's going to be a back and forth with him or good stats on a bad team, where like a Zach LaVine has increased his points per game up by like 2 or 3 every year, or Jamal Murray's gone up by 2 points per game every year.
We've seen players in the past which have, for a couple years, their stats have jumped up and then it's dropped considerably. Someone which had great stats early on, Tyreek Evans, was a phenomenal player early on, stat-wise, and then dropped off completely. We've seen a lot of those. Even Monte Ellis was a weird one like that.
Yeah.
He'd have great stats somewhere, horrible stats
That feels
the
like great
next.
stats on a bad team.
Yeah.
And inconsistency as well.
Yes. But 2 first-round picks seems like a lot for Jeremy Grant.
It is. But he's a great defender.
Yep.
I don't like he's not going to get the same shots he's getting at Detroit.
Yeah. The East is interesting right now because I know Pacers are a bit of a shit show.
They're still like 5th.
Yeah, but they're struggling. They're like just about 500. And in the East,
But they're
I
about
was
to take
hoping
Karis
more.
LeVert back.
Yes, he is now being cleared for the next game.
Good.
Apparently,
I'm glad.
Which I'm excited for because losing Oladipo, whether you love or hate Oladipo, he was a big focus point on their offense as a shooting guard. They don't have one right now. Brogdon's a point guard. His hasn't had the best year this year, but they have like TJ Warren and whatnot haven't been as crazy this year. And Karis LeVert, I loved him in Brooklyn. He's one of my favorite players in the league, in terms of these smaller scale players that aren't all-stars. And I feel like he'll bring a bit of consistency so Sabonis
Absolutely.
can
A bit of that
not
relief,
shoulder
that
everything.
pressure.
Yeah, which I'm excited for because Indiana's always been a funny one. It feels like besides that 1 year where they really went at Miami in the playoffs with Danny Granger in that photo and Paul George on that team, George Hill, Lance Stevenson, Roy Hibbert, that was a crazy squad. But that seems like the peak in the last 15 years.
As that was their peak.
Yeah, and I feel like they've always had a well-constructed team, but it's never really worked out. I don't think their previous coach should have been fired. I think it was a fine
He's now
coach.
back into the head coaching position.
Yeah. But it's like what's
Into
going
a
on?
head coaching position. He's not back at Indiana.
No. That'd be super weird firing your coach. Like, nah, come back with a minute.
Just come back though.
Getting double the money though. God damn.
You can charge whatever you want.
Yeah. But Indiana's just a weird one. But I like Karis LeVert on this team. He's not as polarizing in a bad way is Victor Oladipo. I used to love Victor.
But
I thought he was a great fit in Indy,
Yeah.
but he loves to run his mouth a lot.
And he's played like shit.
Shit, injury prone.
Yeah.
Just his last game was great
So,
for Houston, but
I want to say, like we're towards the tail end of this podcast. As the last little thing, do you see many teams going in on Oladipo? Because he's up for trade. He wants out. He's said it.
I got two answers. If it was me, no, wouldn't do it. But yes, I can see teams going in for him.
What teams?
Miami. I can see Miami doing it.
He wants to go to Miami.
And I can see it happening. It just depends.
What? Miami ain't giving up. Because there
No,
was
that's what I mean.
rumors.
It
Did you hear the
depends.
rumors?
I heard some.
So
None
Houston was
stuck to me.
asking for Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero.
That's just too much.
They ain't giving up their golden gooses.
Like any other team, that's
You can
not,
have a Myers
that's
Leonard.
not too much. But for me anyway, asking for any of those players from Miami Heat specifically when they're so integral to what that team
Yup.
is and how they succeed, that's way too much.
You can have, if I'm Miami, I say, yeah, we'll have Oladipo. You can have a KZ Okpala and a Myers Leonard.
Yeah.
Myers Leonard pre-racial slur.
Thinking of which, we've got to find a new bodyguard, man. I'm telling you.
I know.
Which is sad. Yeah.
I'm
it sucks.
disappointed. But
yeah.
they ain't
I
getting
can
shit
see-
for Oladipo from Miami.
No,
Miami playing
yeah,
hardball,
no.
and I love it.
It really all hinges on what Houston want for him.
Yeah.
You know, if it's, and judging by the sounds of it, they want too much, you know, and you'd rather get something than nothing. You know this well as a Denver fan. You guys keep giving up guys for nothing, which
nothing.
I always get really confused by.
No, same. Same.
But I don't know. I can absolutely see him being moved.
Yeah.
And I can actually, Houston, they're fine at making moves.
I hear Golden State are looking to pick up pieces.
Yeah.
Kings are in sell mode. There's a bunch of teams that are looking to make moves.
Speaking of Golden State, because I think I know you, I don't think you're going to have any weight on this. But all the statements made by Bob Myers and Steph Curry recently regarding his contract extension. So Steph declined the contract extension.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, this is what Bob Myers said, nothing major. He just said, no, it's not right now. End of the season. Let's talk about it.
That's it.
Which is what I thought initially. And then he did say something later on to follow it up, which actually no one's talking about, which is quite surprising because usually the NBA fan base loves drama. Mm-hmm. He came out and said something along the lines of, I'm just paraphrasing. He was talking in regards to, I think it was an old football player, which was a Hall of Famer, played majority of his career with one team. No one ever anticipated him to sign elsewhere, and he signed elsewhere. And it was like, things like that happen. A lot of the times it's out of our control, but, I'll do what I can. That's not something you want to hear right after.
He shouldn't have said that.
He shouldn't.
But I'm putting no stock into this. I don't see Steph ever leaving Golden State.
No, I think they'll always give him whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And I think he's deserving so.
And they'll figure out. Like Clay's been out
2 years.
They'd be contending. They'd be near
Yes.
top, definitely top side of the West if Clay was back.
They need him back. He is a offensive presence and a defensive presence. One of the best two-way players in the league. Just always quietly, because they've had KD. Draymond was much better when he was, playing. It's so different. And so hopefully, he's probably one of the players I want to see back the most.
Yeah.
I want Klay Thompson.
It's countdown till Clay.
Yeah.
Right, next season. So look, Steph will resign.
Well, yeah, no, it's just something that, usually the fan base latches on to anything anyone says.
Yeah.
That was just, Myers shouldn't have said that. That
Yeah.
was really weird to me. But it's weird and exciting to me because Golden State are a good team right now. They shouldn't be. I said this last week. They shouldn't be a good team, but they are purely because of how great Steph is and his MVP-like season is having once again. And you slot a healthy Clay into this. Mm-hmm. Holy crap! That's a great team again. It's crazy what two players can do. It's much like Portland, what two players can do in Dame and CJ. And now they've got a much better group of cast. Like Anthony Simons is coming along really, really great.
Yeah.
Gary Trent Jr. is coming along really great. They managed last year in season 1 of the pod. I was talking about Portland and how they need to sign wings again.
Yeah.
Defensive wings. They've done exactly that.
Yeah.
And even without Zach Collins, even
Yeah.
without Nurkic, they're just as good now. And they look really poised for the playoffs. I don't know how deep they'll get. You know, the West and the East, in this case, is a bloodbath. I mean, actually, this year's a really exciting time to be a fan.
Absolutely. This is shaping up to a really good season. We won't go into it too much more because we are completely out of time.
Okay.
We are running overtime.
Yeah. Overtime. All right.
Overtime. But yeah, it's good to be back in the swing of things. Season 2.
Still love these mugs.
Still love these mugs.
Love 'em.
Thank you, Eloise.
Love them.
If you've made it this far, quick cough. Thank you very much for listening and thank you very much for watching. We do this every week, most of the times on a Saturday morning, but with my work schedule, sometimes it might be on a Sunday.
You will
sometimes
ditch
it might
me
be a Friday
sometimes,
night.
and that's okay. I can't get Adam on the pod.
Exactly. He absolutely refuses.
Yep.
But if you've
He
made it
hates
through
me.
this far, thank you very much. It's the favorite part of our week every week. You can find us on all your favorite streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Pod, Google Pod, Breaker, Anchor, wherever your favorite podcasts are found, we are there. We're also on YouTube over at the Low Block Podcast.
Speaking of which, is now my favorite platform. It's a pain in the ass to edit. It's so much work, man. It takes hours.
Yeah.
But seeing the final product, I'm so happy with
I'll
it.
pay off really quickly.
Yeah.
We are also on Facebook and Instagram at the Lowbot Podcast. I put posts up every week. Probably going to move to twice a week soon.
Yep.
If you want to send us a message, if you want a mug, I'll send it to you.
Shit, I want more. You know what I want to do at some point? And I was probably going to surprise you with it at some point, but I'm
No,
too
just do it.
excited
Don't
about
tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Cool. Not going to do
Keep it a surprise.
Secret for you as well, I guess.
Secret for all of us.
I'm just going to bring it on the pod one day.
Exactly. Thank you very, very much. Like us, rate us, subscribe, comment, flick any of us a message. We'll read it. If you flick us a message, we'll read it. Hate mail. Give us hate mail. Still actively asking for hate mail.
Only pod that'll do that.
Only pod
In the
that'll do
world.
that. And we, thank you very much, guys. And see you next week. Bye.